First question says that use a calculator to work out the value of 208.3 minus 15.7 over 5.694 plus 1.8 square whole square root. Write down all the digits on your calculator display. So simple as that, you plug this in the calculator and what you should get is 4.643069 That is your answer. Question 2 says the scatter graph shows information about some ships. It shows the length and the width of each ship. What type of correlation does the scatter graph show? So when the length is increasing, so is the width. So in a scatter graph, if both the quantities are increasing, that means it's positive correlation. If one quantity was increasing and the other was decreasing, that would be negative correlation. Draw a line of best fit on the scatter graph. So for the line of best fit, we're going to select those points which gives us an equal number of points above the line and below the line. So if you pick these, we're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above the line, 1, 2, 3, 4 below the line. If we pick this, that's more below. So I think I'm going to go with this one. Yeah. That is my line of best fit. Then it says that a different ship has a length of 194 meters. Use your line of best fit to find an estimate for the width of this ship. (194 centimeters). So we draw a line from 194 centimeters. 194 is going to come. This is 190, 192, 194. That's 26, 27, 28. I'm getting 28 meters for the width. Obviously, everyone will have like a different value because like it depends on the line of best fit, but as long as it's in the given range that is given by the marking scheme, your value would be correct. Question 3 says, in London, a 200 grams chalky bar costs 3.50 pounds. In Zurich, a 360 grams chalky bar costs 7.20 Swiss francs. The exchange rate is that 1 pound equals to 1.25 Swiss francs. In which city is the chalky bar the better value for money, in London or in Zurich? You must show how you get your answer. So for this, what I'm going to do first is that I'm going to convert the 3.50 pounds into Swiss francs so that we're comparing the quantities in francs. So 1 pound equals to 1.25 Swiss francs. So 3.50 pounds would be 3.50 times 1.25, which is equal to 4.375 Swiss francs. Now, 200 grams cost 4.375. So let's find the cost for 1 gram. So 200 grams are 4.375. So 1 gram would be 4.375 divided by 200, which is going to give us 0.021875. Now we do the same for the chalky bar in Zurich. So 7.20 Swiss francs is the cost for 360 grams. So for 1 gram, their bar costs 0.02 Swiss francs. So in which city is the chalky bar the better value for money? Clearly, we can see that it's cheaper in Zurich because in London it's for 0.021875 per gram in Swiss francs. And for Zurich, per gram, it's 0.02 Swiss francs. So, Zurich. Then it says that we have a universal set which has odd numbers between 0 and 20. Set A has the elements 3, 9, 15, and 17. Set B has the elements 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, and 19. Tom was asked to draw a Venn diagram for this information. Here is his answer. Write down two things Tom should do to make his answer fully correct. So let's see if the intersection is correct. We can see that the common elements given are 17 and yeah, that's it. So if the common elements are 17, then we cannot add this 17 over here because that's already added over here. So this is wrong. That's one thing that he needs to change. And then apart from that, if you look at the elements in set A, 3, 9, 15 is correct. And for B, 5, 7, 11, 13, 19, correct. One thing that's missing is that he hasn't written the elements that need to be outside set A and set B. Because universal set is odd numbers between 0 and 20. So if you write those down, that's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. Just write that. So if you notice, 1 is missing and yeah, 1 is missing. So remove the 17 from set A and only keep the 17 in the common region. And include 1 outside set A and B. That's your answer. Then it says that complete the table of values for y equals to x squared minus 2x minus 3. So simple question, you just have to substitute the values of x from the table to get the corresponding y values. So when you put x equals to -2, what you should get is 5. When you put x equals to 0, it should give you -3. X equals to 1 should give you -4. X equals to 3 should give you a 0. And lastly, x equals to 4 gives us a 5. Once we have computed the values in the table, next thing is to plot these values of the graph. -2 and 5 is over here. -1 and 0 is here. 0, -3 is here. 1, -4 is here. 2, -3 is here. 3, 0, and 4, 5. For a change, these values were very simple to plot compared to other papers because like we just can't see the values. The graph is so tiny. Okay, so now we just connect these. That's a graph. Then it says that the cost of a first class stamp increased from 76 pence to 85 pence. The cost of a second class stamp increased from 65 pence to 66 pence. Philip says that the percentage increase in the cost of a first class stamp is more than 7 times the percentage increase in the cost of a second class stamp. Is Philip correct? You must show all your breaking. So let's find the percentage increase for the first class stamp. So percentage increase has the formula of new value minus old value divided by old value times 100. This is the formula that we're going to use. New value is 85 minus 76 divided by 76 times 100. And that is going to give us a value of 11.84%. Now for the second class stamp, it's going to be 66, which is the new value, minus 65, the old value, divided by the old value, which is 65. And then we times that by 100. So second class is increased by 1.54%. Now we have to show that the percentage increase in the cost of the first class stamp is more than 7 times the percentage increase in the cost of the second class stamp. So for that, we just divide the percentage increase of first class by the percentage increase of the second class. And that gives us a value of 7.6. So that is correct according to his statement because it is more than 7 times. So yes, he is correct. More than 7 times. So you can just show that. Then it says the diagram shows the triangle ABC. In the diagram, all measurements are in centimeters. The length of AC is equal to the length of BC. The perimeter of the triangle is 72 centimeters. Work out the area of the triangle. So if the perimeter is 72, that means we can add up all the lengths, put it equal to 72, and that's going to be our equation that we're going to use to solve for x. So 72 equals to 2x plus 11 plus 4x minus 4 plus 2x plus 5. Collect the items 2x plus 4x. 2x plus 4x is 6x plus 2x 8x. 11 minus 4 is 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. An alternative method is that since AC is equal to CB, we can also put these two equal to each other. And that should also give us the same value of x. So 11 plus 4 equals to 4x minus 2x. 15 equals to 2x, and that is 7.5 centimeters for x. So let's see over here, we do 72 minus 12 equals to 8x, which is 60. Divide both sides by 8, and that also gives us a value of 7.5 for x. So now that we've calculated the value of x, we can just substitute that into the expressions. So 2 times 7.5 plus 11 is going to be 26. That's AC. So since AC is equal to CB, so CB is also 26. And for AB, that's 2 times 7.5 plus 5, which is 15 plus 5, that's 20. So area is half times base times height. This is your base. This is the height. We don't have the value of the height, so we need to calculate that. We know this is 26. We know this is 20, and this is also 26. So as you can see, when you split the triangle into two equal triangles, because it's an isosceles, we get a right angle triangle. So in a right angle triangle, when you're trying to find one of the missing lengths, we use Pythagoras. Because over here we have this as 10, this as 10, this as 26, and this as 26. So we need to find this perpendicular height. So for the perpendicular height, we will do 26 square minus 10 square equals to h. That is equal to 576 square root that. And that gives us 24 centimeters for the height. So area is going to be 2 times base times height. Base is 20, height is 24, and that's 240 centimeters square. That's the area of the triangle. Then it says that 1.25 times 10 to the power of negative 12 equals to k times 4 times 10 to the power of negative 20. Work out the value of k. So to work out the value of k, we just divide 1.25 times 10 to the power of negative 12 by 4 times 10 to the power of negative 20. Plug this in the calculator, and what you should get is 0.3125 times 10 to the power of 8. Now they want the answer in standard form. So for standard form, we need to move this decimal one place to the right-hand side, because your first digit before the decimal needs to be greater than 0, but less than 10. So that's going to give us 3.125 times 10 to the power of 7. We decrease 1 from the power of 10 because we move the decimal to the right-hand side. If we were moving the decimal to the left-hand side, then we would add 1 to the power. So this is your answer. Then it says the diagram shows two congruent regular 9-sided polygons. ABCD is a quadrilateral. Show that ABCD is not a square. So let's find the interior angles of the congruent regular 9-sided polygons. So since it's 9-sided, your interior angle formula is n minus 2 times 180 over n. So that's 9 minus 2 times 180 divided by 9, which is going to give us a value of 140 degrees. So this is 140 and so is this, because they're congruent regular 9-sided polygons. So the interior angle is going to be the same for both of them. So now if we look at this, all of these three angles added up should equal to a 360, because angles around a point add up to 360. So technically speaking, if we want to find angle ABC, that should be 360 minus 140 minus 140. So that gives us a value of 80 degrees. Now we know in a square, all angles are right angle triangles. And if we do 80 times 4, that's going to give us 320, not 360. So that clearly shows that it's not a square, because for a square, sum of angles would add up to 360, not 320. And your interior angles for square also 90 degrees, always, never 80 or something else. So that's how you prove it. Then says use algebra to solve the simultaneous equation and show order working. So for this, whenever we're solving simultaneous equations, you can use either the elimination method or the substitution method. In this case, I would go for elimination method, because for substitution, if I make either of the variables the subject, we're going to get a fraction, and then we'll have to substitute the fraction in the other equation. So it's best to go for elimination. So for elimination, first you need to decide which variable you want to eliminate. Do you want to eliminate x or y? I'm going to choose x over here. So for x, once I've decided the variable, I need to figure out what are the coefficients of that variable in both the equations. In the first equation, the quotient of x is 4. In the second equation, the quotient of x is 6. So they're not the same. Next step would be to make them same. So to make them same, what we can do is we can convert them into a lowest common multiple that both of them share, which is 12, because 4 times 3 is 12 and 6 times 2 is 12. So I can multiply the first equation by 3 and the second equation by 2. You can also do this, that you can multiply the first equation by 6 and the second equation by 4, which would convert the quotient of x into 24. That's also fine. You can pick any number as long as the coefficients are coming out to be the same. But it's always advised to go for like a simpler number so that your calculation is simpler and less time consuming. So 3 times 4x minus 5y equals to 20, and 2 times 6x plus 7y equals to negative 57. So first equation becomes 12x minus 15y equals to 60. And second equation is 12x plus 14y equals to negative 114. Once you've made the coefficients equal, next step is to look at the signs of the variable that we're trying to eliminate in both the equations. So we can see that 12x is positive in the first equation and the second equation. So for us to be able to eliminate them, we will subtract the two equations, which means this becomes negative, and this becomes positive. So 12x minus 12x is 0, negative 15y minus 14y, and 60 plus 114. So that's negative 29y equals to 174. Y equals to 174 divided by negative 29, which gives us a value of negative 6. So y equals to negative 6. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to substitute this back into either of the equations to get the value of x. You can substitute into these equations as well or these. Either way, you get the same answer. So I'm going to pick the first one. 4x minus 5y equals to 20. Substitute y equals to negative 6. So that's 4x minus 5 times negative 6 equals to 20. 4x plus 30 equals to 20. 4x equals to 20 minus 30. That is negative 10. Divide both sides by 4. X is going to be negative 2.5. That's your value of x. Question 11 says describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. So we can clearly see that's an enlargement because the size of the shape has changed. So what we need to figure out is what is the scale factor of the enlargement and what is the center of enlargement. So for the scale factor, you can just compare two corresponding sides on the original shape and the image of the shape. We can see that this is 2 units and this is 3 units. So scale factor would be 3 divided by 2. You divide the new length by the original length, and that's 1.5. That's the scale factor. Now for the center of enlargement, what we do is we connect corresponding points all of these lines are passing through the point -4 and 2. So that is your center of enlargement. Remember, for the center of enlargement, you will always connect corresponding points on the original shape and the image. Connect them through a line and extend the line fully on the graph. And the point where all of the lines meet, that is going to be a center of enlargement. So it's enlargement by a scale factor of 1.5 and center is -4 and -2. That's your answer. Then it says the diagram shows a solid cylinder with base radius 3 centimeters and height 8 centimeters. It also shows a solid cube with side length h centimeters. The cylinder is made from steel with a density of 7.86 grams per centimeter cube, and the cube is made from brass with a density of 8.5 grams per centimeter cube. The mass of the cylinder is equal to the mass of the cube. Work out the value of h to be answer correct to 1 decimal place. So first thing, you need to know that density equals to mass over volume. We have the density for the cylinder and the cube. We can find the volume of the cylinder using this information. That would give us the mass. And since mass is the same for both of them, then we can use that mass for the cube and find the length of h. So for the cylinder, density is 7.86 equals to mass over, now volume is pi times 3 square. So r square is 3 square and height is 8. So I write the formula over here, volume of cylinder by r square h. So cross multiply 7.86 times pi times 9 times 8 equals to the mass of the cylinder, which is going to give us a value of 1777.85 grams. That's the mass of the cylinder. Now, since the mass is same, so we write cube over here. Density is 8.5 equals to 1777.85 divided by h cube. Why h cube? Because the volume for a cube is length times width times height. And since the length, width, and height are exactly the same, so it's h cube. So h cube equals to 1777.85 divided by 8.5. And that is going to give us a value of 209.159. Cube root both sides to find the value of h. And that is equal to 5.9 centimeters correct to 1 decimal place. That's your answer. Then it says, here is a table of values of x and y. Nadia says that y is directly proportional to x because the value of x increases by 4 as the value of y increases by 4 as the value of x increases by 2. Is she correct? You must give a reason for your answer. So we know that if something is directly proportional, the formula we use is y equals to k times x. K is your constant of proportionality. So she's saying y is directly proportional to x. So throughout the table of values, your constant of proportionality has to be the same. So if you find the constant using the first set, that 0 equals to k times 2 and 0 equals to k. If 0 equals to k, that means like all of these values wouldn't exist. All of these y values would equal to 0 because 0 times 4 is 0, 0 times 6 is 0, 0 times 8 is 0. So that doesn't make sense. So Nadia is incorrect because the constant of proportionality is not the same for each set of X and Y values. Then it says W is directly proportional to the square root of T. So W is directly proportional to the square root of T, which means W equals to K times root of T. W is 140 when T is 64. So you substitute these values to find the value of the K. So 140 equals to K times 8, and 140 divided by 8 equals to K, which is going to be 17.5. So we have to calculate the value of W when T is 7.84. So W equals to 17.5 times 7.84, which gives us square, sorry, 49. That is the value of W when T is 7.84. Let me just write the equation over here. W equals to 17.5 root T. That is the equation that we're using. Then on the axis, sketch a graph to show the relationship between W and T. So since W is directly proportional to root of T, the graph of that is going to look like this. That's a graph for something being directly pushed to the square root of another thing. Then there are 10 football teams in a league. Each team plays every other team 4 times. Work out the number of games played. So as the question says that there are 10 football teams in a league. So if we say that team A is, playing against team B. So as you know, in counting, we are looking at as like probability. So team A versus team B is going to be team A and team B, which is 10 times 9, because when you're talking about team B, it's one less from the total number of teams. So when you're talking about team A, that's all of the 10 teams. But then if it's playing against team B, then it's, one less team. So 10 times 9 for that. And it says each team plays every other team 4 times. So since it's happening 4 times, so times that by 4. But we divide this by 2 as well, because we can also say that it's team B versus team A. Like I said, it's just like probability. If you're saying like if I'm taking red and blue, I can take red first and then blue. But I can also take blue first and red then after, because it's just like probability if I say I'm taking red and blue counters. But if I'm not specifying the order, I can take the red counter first, then the blue counter. Or I can take the blue counter first and then the red counter. So this is very much similar to that. I can say that's team A versus team B, or I can say it's team B versus team A, that team B is then playing with team A. So that's why when it's being repeated, we divide it by 2. So 10 times 9 times 4 divided by 2, which is 180. And that's your answer. Then it says here the first 5 terms of a quadratic sequence. Find an expression in terms of n for the nth term of this sequence. So first we begin with finding the common difference. We have 3, 20, 47, 84, and 131. The difference between 3 and 20 is 17. Between 20 and 47 is 27. Between 84 and 47 is 37. And between 84 and 131 is 47. Now we find the second difference because the first difference is not common. So between 27 and 17, we have 10. Between 37 and 27, we also have 10, and again 10. So this is your first difference. This is your second difference. Since the second difference is common, that's clear that it's a quadratic sequence. Also says in the question it's quadratic. So next step is to divide this second difference by 2. Why? Because a quadratic equation basically comes in the format of an square plus bn plus c. That's your nth term of a quadratic sequence. So a is found by dividing the second difference by 2, which is 5. So we have 5n squared plus bn plus c. Now we need to figure out the value of b and c. So for the value of b, what we'll do, so to work out the value of b and c, what we will do is we'll first make a table. And in that table, we will make 3 rows. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the sequence is 3, 20, 47, 84, 131. This is the original sequence. The original sequence. Now, in the next column, we will write 5n squared, which is an squared. So if you use 5n squared as the nth term, for the first term, we'll get 5 times 1, which is 5. Then 5 times 4, 20. 5 times 9, 45. 5 times 16, which is going to be 80. And 5 times 25, 125. So now you find the difference of these terms. So for this, 5 minus 3 is 2. 20 minus 20 is 0. 45 minus 47 is negative 2. 80 minus 84 is negative 4. And 125 minus 131 is negative 6. So as you can see, we're decreasing by 2 as we go from 2 to negative 6. For b n plus c, b is going to be negative 2 because the difference between these differences is negative 2. We're subtracting 2 from each side. So negative 2n plus 4. Because negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 4 is 2. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. Then negative 2 times 4, negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4, and so on. So b is negative 2. Negative 2 is the difference between the difference of the original sequence and this new sequence that we create using 5n squared. And c is 4. So your nth term is 5n squared minus 2n plus 4. That is the final answer. So to summarize it, first you will find the first difference of the sequence. Then you will find the second difference. Since it's quadratic, that means the second difference will be the common difference. Once you've identified that, you will divide the common difference by 2, which will give you the value of a, which is the quotient of n squared. Then you will create a sequence from 5n squared, subtract the values of that sequence from the original sequence, and you will have a sequence of differences. Then you will find the nth term of that sequence of differences, and that will give you the value of b and c for the nth term, which is an squared plus bn plus c. Then since the terms of a different sequence are given by the rule un plus 1 minus k un plus k, where k is a constant, Given that u1 is 9 and u2 is 4, find the value of u4. So u2 would equal to k times u1 plus k. So that's 4 equals to k times 9 plus k. 4 equals to 10k. 4 divided by 10 is equal to k, 2 over 5. So now u3 is going to be k times u2 plus k. So that's going to be 2 over 5 times u2 is the 4 plus 2 over 5, which gives us a value of 10 over 5, and that's 2. u4 is going to be 2 over 5 times 2 plus 2 over 5, which is going to give us a value of 6 over 5. So that's the value of u4. Question 16 says the histogram gives information about the distances that 60 teachers travel to school on Monday. The histogram is incomplete. 11 teachers travel between 0 miles and 5 miles. None of the teachers travel a distance greater than 50 miles. The number of teachers who travel between 5 miles and 10 miles is the same as the number of teachers travel between 20 and 30 miles. Complete this histogram. So for this, what we'll do is that we know that 11 are over here. And for this, it's the same, x, the same thing. So we have the total number of teachers, which is 60. And we can find the frequency for 10 to 20 interval and 30 to 50 interval. How? Frequency density is frequency over class width. So frequency would be frequency density times class width. Frequency density for this is 1.5 and for this is 0.3. So 1.5 times the class width, which is 10, that's 15. So 15 people over here. And for this one, 0.3 times 20, and that's going to be 6 people over here. So now to find the value of the number of people who are between 5 to 10 and 20 to 30, we create an equation. This is going to be 60 equals to 2x plus 11 plus 15 plus 6. So collect the like terms. 11 plus 15 plus 6 is going to give us 32. 60 minus 32 equals to 2x, which is equal to 28. 28 divided by 2 is x, which is 14. So now you find the frequency density for these two intervals. For the first one, 14 divided by 5, that's going to give us 2.8. And then 14 divided by 10, which is 1.4. So we draw our bars. 2.8 is going to come over here. And 1.4 is going to be this. This is your complete histogram. Let's just show that 6x minus y over 10xy plus 1 over 2x minus 2y minus 7x over 5xy simplifies to k over y, where x is an integer. So as you know, whenever we're adding or subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, we have to make the denominators same first. So 10 comes in the 2 times table and the 5 times table. So first fraction would remain the same. Second fraction gets multiplied with 5y. And third fraction would get multiplied by 2. This way, all three fractions have the same denominator, which is 10xy. So 6x minus y over 10xy plus 5y over 10xy minus 2 times 2y minus 7x over 10xy. So make a common fraction because the denominator is the same. 10xy, 6x minus y plus 5y. Negative 2 times 2y is negative 4y. Negative 2 times negative 7x is plus 14x. 6x plus 14x is 20x. And this cancels out the y. So that's 10xy. This gets cancelled out. This gets cancelled out. So we left with 2 over y. So that clearly shows that our k is 2, which is an integer. Then it says A, B, and C are 3 points in a circle with center O. BA equals to BC. Prove that OB bisects angle ABC. OB is bisecting this angle. So if we remember, any length coming from the center towards the circumference, that is your radius. OB is equal to OA equal to OC. OB equals to OA equals to OC, and they're all the radius. First thing. Now we have to prove that OB is bisecting this angle. So if the lengths are same for all three triangles, triangle OAB, triangle OBC, and OAC, wouldn't the angles also be the same? This would be the same as this. This would be the same as this. All of these would be the same. Okay. So what we can write over here is that triangle ABO is congruent to triangle CBO. ABO, CBO. Yep, they're congruent. Because OC is the same as OA, which is the same as OB, like we said before. Then, if the lengths are equal, like I said, the angles would also equal. If the lengths are equal, angles are also equal. Which means angle OBC is the same as angle OBA. So if they're the same, that means OB is bisecting angle ABC, because if they're both the same, it's symmetrical. So that's how you show it. There are three equal triangles. And since the lengths of the triangles are the same, that means the angles are also going to be the same. So if this is X, this is also X, and they want us to show that OB is bisecting ABC. So ABC is turning out to be 2X based on our calculation. And OBC, which is the same as OBA, is equal to X. Since ABC is twice of OBC, so that clearly shows that OB is bisecting ABC. Then it says that T equals to W over A minus C, where W is 435 correct to the nearest 5, A is 9.8 correct to two significant figures, and C is 2.5 correct to two significant figures. By considering bounds, calculate the value of T to a suitable degree of accuracy. You must show all your working and give a reason for your final answer. So for this, we're trying to find the bound. So we need to find the upper bound of T and the lower bound for T. So for upper bound of T, W will be upper bound. For A minus C, A will be lower bound and C would be upper bound. Why? Because in division, if you're trying to find the upper bound, the numerator will be upper bound and denominator will be lower bound. And for the denominator to be lower bound in this case, since we're finding the difference, so to find the lowest value, we subtract the upper bound from the lower bound. So what we will do over here is that we will find the upper bound of W first. W is 435 correct to the nearest 5. So divide the degree of accuracy by 2, which is 2.5. And then we add that to 435. It's going to give us 437.5. For lower bound of W, we will do 435 minus 2.5, which is going to give us 432.5. Now, talking about A, for upper bound of A, 9 point is correct to two significant figures. So when you have significant figures, we check the place value of the second significant figure in the given figure. So over here, 8 is the second significant figure. Place value of 8 is 0.1. So you divide the place value by 2. It's going to give us 0.05. And then for upper bound, we will do 9.8 plus 0.05, which is 9.85. And for the lower bound of A, we will do 9.8 minus 0.05, which is going to be 9.75. Moving on to C. For C, your upper bound of C would be same thing. For C, it's going to be the same steps. We divide the place value of the second significant figure, which is 0.1, by 2, which gives us 0.05. So upper bound would be 2.5 plus 0.05, which is 2.55. And lower bound of C is going to be 2.5 minus 0.05, which is equal to 2.45. Separate this. So now that we have all of the upper bounds and lower bounds, we move on to finding the upper bound and lower bound for B. So upper bound of B would be 437.5 over 9.75 minus 2.55. That's 60.76. And then for lower bound of T, we do 432.5 over 9.85 minus 2.45 is going to give us 58.45. They want us to calculate the value of T considering the bounds. So as we can see that, let me highlight this. This is your lower bound, this is your upper bound. So the value of T is supposed to be in the middle of these two. So that's going to be 16. Then it says VABC is a solid pyramid. ABC is in the equilateral triangle. M is the midpoint of AB. F is the point on MC, such that MF is to FC is 1:2. The vertex V is vertically above F. VA equals to VB equals to VC. VF is given as 8. Angle VCM is 52. Work out the side length of the equilateral triangle ABC, giving your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So they have told us VCM is 52 and VF is given as 8. So we can see that we have this right angle triangle over here, and using that right angle triangle, we can find the length of FC and then use that to find the length of MF and MC. So first we'll do, I'm going to call this X. Let's call that FC here. So tan of 52 equals to 8 over FC. So FC equals to 8 over tan of 52, which gives us a value of 6.25 centimeters. Now, if FC is 6.25 and MF is to FC is 1:2, so that's going to be half of it. So MF is going to be 6.25 over 2, which is equal to 3.13 centimeters. So MC would be the sum of 6.25 and 3.13, which is equal to 9.38 centimeters. Okay. Then it said that we have to find the length of ABC. So this is what we have to find. M is the midpoint of AB. So what if we use this triangle to figure out the length? If we highlight the triangle, CMB, we know MC is 9.38. We also know it's an equilateral triangle ABC. So that means this angle over here is 30 and this is 60. So 30, 60. So you can clearly use SOHCAHTOA to find CB directly, or you can even find MB and multiply that by 2 to find AB. Either way, like, you're going to get the right answer. So if I use SOHCAHTOA to find CB, I'm going to use sine. Sine 60 equals to opposite, which is 9.38 divided by the hypotenuse, which is CB. So CB would be 9.38 divided by sine of 60, and that gives us a value of 10.8 centimeters, correct to 1 decimal place. That is the side length of the equilateral triangle ABC. Then it says the point P has coordinates -4, 5, and point Q has the coordinates of 6, -6. The point R has coordinates of K and K plus 3. Given that angle PRQ is a right angle, find the possible values of K. So let's just draw a rough sketch of the right angle triangle. So we have PRQ. So if they're at a right angle, that means the gradient of PR times the gradient of RQ. So MPR times MRQ would equal to -1. So we can easily find the value of K using this equation. MPR would be K plus 3 minus 5 over K minus -4, which is K minus 2 over K plus 4. Then MRQ would be K plus 3 minus -6 over K minus 6, which is K plus 9 over K minus 6. So then we do K minus 2 over K plus 4 times K plus 9 over K minus 6 equals to -1. So we can solve this algebraic fraction. We'll probably get a quadratic equation and we'll use that to find the value of K. So multiply them. K minus 2 times K plus 9 over K plus 4 times k minus 6 equals to negative 1. Expand the bracket, k square plus 9k minus 2k minus 18 over k square minus 6k plus 4k negative 24 equals to negative 1. So that's k square plus 7k minus 18 cross multiply negative k square plus 2k plus 24. Bring everything on one side. So k square plus k square plus 7k minus 2k minus 18 minus 24 equals to 0. That's going to be 2k square plus 5k minus 42 equals to 0. Now we'll solve this quadratic equation to find the value of k. So 2 times 42 is 48. Factors of 48 are 12 and 7 in this case, because 12 minus 7 is going to give us 5. We can even use the quadratic formula, whichever we're comfortable with. 2k square plus 12k minus 7k minus 42 equals to 0. Factor by grouping between 2k square and 12k, we have 2k common. So k plus 6 in the bracket. And between 7k and 42, we have negative 7 common. So k plus 6 again in the bracket. So 2k minus 7 times k plus 6, where k equals to 7 over 2 and k equals to 6. Negative 6. These are your two values of k, negative 6 and 7 over 2. Question 22 says there are only red counters and yellow counters in a box. 3/5 of the counters are red. Sophie takes at random 2 counters from the box. The probability that the 2 counters are the same color is 41 over 80. Work out the number of yellow counters in the box. You must show all your working. So first we assume that the total counters are equal to n. So that means red counters are 3/5 of n and yellow counters are 2/5 of n. They said that the probability that the two counters are the same is 41 over 80. So that means we either take red, red, or we take yellow and yellow. So the probability of taking a red counter is 3 over 5n divided by n, because we're taking 3 over 5n out of n. So that's basically the same as 3n over 5n. And same for probability of yellow would be 2n over 5n. So if we take the red counter first, so that's 3n over 5n multiplied by 3n minus 1 over 5n minus 1. Because when you took one counter from the back, there's one less counter. So that's why 3n minus 1 over 5n minus 1. Or we take the yellow counter. So that's 2n over 5n times 2n minus 1 over 5n minus 1. This entire thing equals to 41 over 80. So using this equation, we're going to figure out the value of n, and then that will help us figuring out how many yellow counters we have. So cancel out the n over here. So 3 times 3n minus 1 over 5 times 5n minus 1 plus 2 times 2n minus 1 over 5 times 5n minus 1 equals to 41 over 80. 9n minus 3 plus 4n minus 2. I'm going to rewrite this as a single fraction, and that's 25n minus 5. Cross multiply. 13n minus 5 times 8 equals to 41 times 25n minus 5. So 13 times 8, that's 80, sorry. 13 times 80 is going to be 1040n minus 400. And over here, 41 times 25 is 1025n minus 205. So 1040n minus 1025n equals to negative 205 plus 400. That's 15 n equals to 195. So then n would be 195 divided by 15. And that gives us a value of 13. So for the probability of yellow counters, we know it was 2n over 5n. So that's 2 times 13 over 5 times 13, which gives us 26 over 65. So yellow counters are 26. That's your answer.